being here. We're really excited to have you here and for the panelists to join me today. I have a couple questions for the panelists, and we're going to dig right in. But let me share just a little bit about why we're all here today. Let me invite you. I'll just bring it up for you as well. So, Costa America, we believe that government can work dramatically better than it does today. The criminal justice system is one of the areas we're failing the American people the most. And so at Costa America, for our criminal justice work, what we're looking to do is transform the way that government is delivering services to those impacted by the criminal justice. This means helping to implement reforms that are aimed at decriminalization, decarceration, and removing barriers to jobs, housing, education, and other opportunities. And so we're excited today is kicking off the 7th annual National Day of Civic Hacking, which is partnering with the National Expungement Week in support of and shoulder to shoulder with folks across the country who are providing legal services for folks who are looking to move through the expungement process. So that's what we're here to kick off. It's really exciting. On Saturday, there's a bunch of events. 1,000 volunteers and 50 events across the country are coming together to do just this, to focus in on post-conviction relief in various ways to support folks in the removal of barriers that they face because of legal restrictions that we put in front of them. So I'm going to quickly introduce the speakers. Assemblymember Ting here is elected to the California State Assembly in 2012 and represents west side of San Francisco and communities of Broadmoor, Colma, Daly City, and South San Francisco. Also the author of AB 1076, which is a groundbreaking bill in California that will make conviction relief automatic for the very first time. Incredible. Terrance Stewart, sitting next to Assemblymember, is the time-done California State Director, Californians for Safety and Justice, a statewide policy advocacy organization that launched Time Done in late 2018 to educate the public about the barriers, the 48,000 barriers facing folks with criminal records. Sacha, made up your name. Sacha Steinberger is the founder. We're friends. Is the founder and executive director of Legal Aid, a Bay Area nonprofit that's creating and supporting a new front line community legal workers to remove barriers for people living in poverty. McKee is the director of research and analytics at the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, where she spearheaded efforts to expedite relief marijuana convictions and move legislation to make conviction relief automatically. And then Brandon Banks is a public defender with the Contra Public Defender's Office, where he leads the Clean Slate project here at Contra Costa. So it's an amazing panel. We're going to move really fast. A couple questions, and we'll open it up. So nearly 5,000 legal restrictions for someone with a criminal record in California. Frame this for us. What's the impact of these legal restrictions on the lives of people living with past conviction? And tell us more about Time Done.
Okay. Well, my name is Terrance Stewart. I'm statewide director of California Safety and Justice. And 3 years ago, I was home. And I know it was 3 years ago because I just had my newborn son. And the reason why it was hard for me to get into housing was because of my past conviction. And it wasn't because of my credit score. It wasn't because of my education level. It wasn't because I didn't have a job. It was my criminal record. So, the further that is that, my child was on the verge of homelessness, my wife, my daughter. So it affects more than just a person dealing with a past conviction. It affects their families, anybody involved in proximity to it. So, what we're trying to do with the Time Done campaign is we're trying to restore people's lives. People who live with past convictions, who having a hard time with their day-to-day living, and restore them. They have been rehabilitated, and the part thing about rehabilitation is coming to provide a new opportunity for so many people that live with these past convictions.
And Sacha, with Legal Aid, you work to inform and equip low-income families, and they're advocates with information and tools to navigate the legal system. And Legal Aid is also a long-time user of the My Record Classic, which Costa America launched in 2015. Share with us some of what you often hear from folks trying to navigate.
Sure. We hear a lot about criminal records and that barrier, and also about all the civil barriers and legal issues that come up. So just to set some of the statistics, which some of you may not have heard, low-income folks face a lot of legal issues. It's 2 to 3 on average every year. 80% of people don't realize that the issues they're facing are legal in nature. And our legal delivery system is super complicated, right? We have over 100 legal providers, non-profit legal providers in the Bay Area alone. And it can be really complicated to know, A, if you have a legal issue, where to go to get help. And then even when you get there, the number of legal attorneys or legal aid attorneys on the civil side that we have is just not enough. Right? So there's one legal aid attorney in California for every 7,000 qualifying help. And so Californians are also facing 2 to 3 civil legal issues. Here you can see what's right? There's not enough help out there. And so what we do at Legal Link is we, taking that into account, work with non-lawyers, trusted partners in the community, like service providers, others who are already working on things like getting people housed and are going to come across those barriers, like a prior conviction or a prior eviction or immigration barrier or any number of family custody issues, housing unclear, any number of things that are going to come up. And we train them to be able to identify those issues and help people navigate it. Not to be lawyers, but to know what to do next and how to help them. So what we see is that navigating the legal system is incredibly complicated, and it's not as complicated as scary, it's overwhelming. It is sometimes makes people walk away and not deal with things at all, and usually it's in the legal world when you do that. It also has a true impact on people's everyday lives, their ability to be housed, employed, stable, and move on from that. So I think on the navigation side, like what do we see? We see that people need additional tools. Like we love the My Record app. It allows people who are not lawyers, who don't know exactly the difference between record keeping and a warrant, between an open criminal case, not a public defender and a civil attorney. A lot of us don't know that information, and that's because we've made it pretty hard to figure out. It makes people who know that it exists, know that the tool exists, and know that the problem exists, be able to do something about it and move the ball forward. And we're talking about working with communities who are facing scarcity around time and resources and energy and other issues on their plate. Being able to address a legal issue simply and be able to move the ball forward, especially in a trusted space that doesn't require them to go chase down the help, make all the difference. So for us, tools like My Record that we can put in trusted partners' hands and train them on how to use it with people who need this support.
It's a design problem, and it's by design. It's by design. Brandon, you lead one of the few clean slate clinics across the state with the Public Defender's Office. Also a longtime user of My Record. Share with us some of the current legal remedies available for folks with past convictions under California law, and how My Record Classic has helped in your practice.
Sure. So at the Contra Costa County Public Defender's Office, we have a pretty robust clean slate program where it's not just myself who is the lead attorney, but we have a superstar support staff of 3 paralegals and 2 law clerks, where we can provide a pretty comprehensive approach to helping people with post-conviction relief. As you guys probably already know, because you're here at Code for America, one of the primary things we do in the post-conviction relief space is help people with the expungement process. We do hundreds of expungements a month and thousands of expungements a year. That really is kind of the primary function of the clean slate program in our office. But in addition to the expungements, we also do arrest sealings, where we help people seal arrests where they were never convicted of a crime based on what they were arrested for. We do certificate of rehabilitation, helping people to get a certificate and hopefully get on the way to receiving a pardon from the governor's office where they were where they formerly served prison time. And one of the really significant things that we have been litigating the past couple of years is the deletion of outstanding fines and fees. And as you probably can imagine, many of our clients who come to the criminal justice system after they've been convicted of a crime, even very minimal crimes like misdemeanors, like a petty theft or being under the influence of a drug, they will be put on probation, and they, for a long time, suffered thousands of dollars in fees just from probation fees. So many of the people that we see coming through the Clean Slate program often have thousands of dollars of court-imposed debt. And as you can probably also imagine, they have very limited income. They're often redirecting those income to paying off this court-imposed debt rather than using that income to pay for life's basic necessities. These fines and fees often act as barriers to getting expungements and to getting jobs and to getting housing. So oftentimes our clients are faced with these circumstances where they are involved in this kind of never-ending cycle of poverty because they owe these fines and fees, which prevented the expungement, which prevented their ability to get a job. So we have made pretty significant inroads in those areas. In fact, just this past Tuesday, Contra Costa County passed a moratorium to end all locally controlled fines and fees, which is a huge step in the right direction. With respect to our use of Clear My Record, I was mentioning earlier that because we have such an antiquated case management system in Contra Costa County, that in the Clean Slate unit, we use Clear My Record as our primary case management system. It allows us to interface with clients. It allows us to keep track of clients. It allows us to keep track of where our clients' cases are in the process of receiving an expungement or even an arrest sealing. So it is the primary, if not exclusive, tool that we rely on to keep track of our clients and communicate with them.
We've done a lot of work together in the last year to show it's possible to remove the bottlenecks that we've heard about in the system and expedite conviction relief. Can you say a little bit more about what we've done and what it is meant for?
Sure. So first, I just want to say I'm really honored to be on this panel with the people who are advocating for record clearance on the front line, and very excited to be here with all of you at the beginning of National Dispensary Week. In 2018, we implemented Prop 64, which was passed by the voters in 2016. That's the end of marijuana prohibition, legalizing recreational marijuana use. And San Francisco District Attorney George Gascon asked his office what we could do as prosecutors, though I'm not myself a prosecutor. We asked the office what we could do to make sure that we fulfilled the vision of Prop 64 in truly ending marijuana prohibition and doing what we could to undo the harms of the war on drugs, and particularly on communities of color who have been disproportionately impacted. Prop 64 includes a provision that allows someone to clear their record, to petition the court to clear their record. But as has been explained here, that process is very complicated, it's cumbersome, and expensive. And the only reason it exists is because of prosecutors. So the prosecutor has the right to say no. So we have all this process so that the prosecutor can get in there and say yes or no, basically make that argument to the court. So since we knew we didn't want to say no, DA Gascon said, I don't want to be the roadblock, I want to be the expediter. So he became the first district attorney in the United States to proactively keep clear marijuana convictions. He made that announcement. I think I can say Code for America got really excited because they were already in this space. And they approached our office and said, hey, we've got technology that can take this to really make it happen. We were still going to have to deal with all the bureaucracy. We were just going to take it on ourselves. And I think that combination of a really bold reform vision combined with technology and the optimism and the can-do nature of the Clear My Record team is what has created a marijuana conviction relief revolution in the United States and all across the state. And I had a great time hanging out with the Clear My Record team, way more than they probably wanted to hang out with me to make it happen. And so through that work, we were able to dismiss and seal in San Francisco over 9,300 felony and misdemeanor marijuana convictions. And that means that there are over 1,300 people who no longer have a felony conviction on their record. also, we did a lot of learning. So the reason we're hanging out so much is because we had to learn about the data, and we had to learn about the local data, the state data, and how the systems work, and how they're talking to each other. And I would say that all of that learning kind of created the policy roadmap for AB 1076, which, if it passes, thanks to the advocacy and learning of our colleagues, Californians for Safety and Justice, and the leadership of Bill Ting, if it passes, it's on the governor's desk right now, it will be the most progressive and comprehensive automatic record clearance law in the country. Ooh.
Walking right into a pot. Maria mentioned 1876, a bill that you authored and have successfully led the California legislators sitting on the governor's desk. You know, at Corporate America, we often talk about how justice is getting the implementation right. Tell us how does AB 1076 get the
So, I mean, let me just start off by thanking Maria, the DA's office, DA Gaston. At the time I started working on this, they had already spent really many months working on this particular bill, working on this issue. So they deserve a lot of credit. Terrance and the whole team in California for Safety and Justice were incredible partners as well. So really the three groups of us were the ones who really started working on this. This, just to give you a sense of what's at stake. So California has roughly 40 million people. 8 million Californians either have an arrest or conviction. Now, when we introduced AB 1076, we wanted to make it retroactive, going all the way back to 1981, with the idea that it would impact potentially, we just guessed, 2 to 3 million people. We weren't able to get that all the way through. The legislation technically is passed, it's waiting for the governor's signature, so it's only prospective, not prospective, not my words and stuff. But basically, we were able to go all the way back to 1981. Now we've only just start from January 1st if it's signed in 2020 and move forward from there. And what we really learned was we did a bill last year with Californians for Safety and Justice, and it got killed because of its very high cost. And this is why technology is so important. It was a very similar concept. It was also expunging records, but we were asking the courts to go do that. And so every court, every county was supposed to, because it's like, oh my God, every court clerk was going to sit there and go through every record, and who knows what the files were in or how they kept it. And so really the AB 1076 idea was much more elegant. It was really based on Corporate America's work, working with the marijuana expungement to say, hey, we demonstrated we can create this database, that you can just start with a clean database, and then all you have to do is just sort of refer to that database rather than getting into these old archaic systems. I used to be a county assessor. I don't know what software the DA's program and the courts program, but our property database is still in this software was programmed in COBOL. So the COBOL.
Do you get laughter?
Yeah. Maybe you know what COBOL is. I think maybe they're confused. Does anybody know what COBOL is? Okay. Anybody program in COBOL?
Why are you?
COBOL. COBOL. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Thank you. The silent T. So that system, helped generate about $3 billion for the city of California. So it's and it's still in COBOL. So again, rather than having us go into these archaic systems, modifying every county system, this idea of Corporate America almost starting clean and being able to kind of overlay the system, I think is such a great idea. I've had discussions with the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, and they're still a little bit skeptical, right? Nervous, not quite sure how to do this. We got a pretty big price tag. Price tags on bills are very important because if the bill is too expensive, then there's no money attached to it, then the bill dies. I'm very fortunate. I chair our Assembly Budget Committee. So what we did is to get the bill through. We said, hey, don't appropriate any money. We'll deal with it in the next budget. And so that is part of the nitty-gritty of making government work that you don't always get to see. But this bill so important because what Terrance described, probably just a little bit, and trying to hear his story, which will be very moving. But you hear how those convictions or just those arrests, like just an arrest, not even a conviction, just an arrest. Now, I have a staff member had arrest for typical political behavior, got arrested for being at a protest. When he was getting ready to adopt a child, they almost wouldn't let him adopt a child because he had an arrest, not a conviction, arrest. So imagine if you actually have a conviction, what kind of hurdles get thrown in your way. And people always talk about, hey, have you paid your debt to society? So imagine if you paid off your credit card bill that just never went away. And you just carried it with you every day. So it's like 2 ball and chains that you gotta walk around with all day long. You know, how do you get to work? How do you get a house? How do you get anything? You know, you can't, if you have a felony, you can't vote, right? So again, we have systematically disenfranchised, and again, most of these folks started voting, so it wasn't like it was evenly distributed throughout our society. So this is a way to keep a certain group of people poor, and you kept them wholly, completely disenfranchised, and kept them poor, and you never ever, they don't even get an opportunity. So for us, I mean, I think you led in very perfectly that this is an area where we've been doing the same thing over and over again and haven't got any better result. We're not any safer because of that. We spend, just so you all know, we spend $12 billion a year on corrections. $12 billion. During the recession, it was about $9 billion, and it equaled, the corrections budget equaled the higher education budget. Equal. The money that we spend on all the UCs, CSUs, and community colleges to house, you know, back then it was like 150,000 people. So right now we spend $12 billion to house about 130,000 roughly. So, I mean, like with that kind of money, they should be living like in the Ritz or something. So I just started recess, so I went to go visit the Salinas Valley State Prison yesterday. That was sort of my idea of the day. But you know, it's informative because you want to see where all this money's going, why it's being spent, and frankly, why our results are not better, because it's Department of Corrections or Rehabilitation. The whole point is you go in, you're supposed to come out better, right? You're supposed to come out better. But you don't. You come out worse. Oftentimes you come out addicted. Oftentimes you come out permanently in debt with your conviction. Oftentimes you are not ever allowed that second chance. So what happens? Well, you just go back. Because there's no, you know, if all the doors are closed, that's what happens, right? So to me, I am so proud of the work that Costa America is doing, the preventive health, all the work that we're doing, because it's kind of a team effort. And this is so important because these folks, I'll just say, in Sacramento, I'm so happy California for safety and justice is really up their presence in Sacramento. Because in Sacramento, there are no paid lobbyists for like poor folks. There are no paid lobbyists for like convicted folks. I'll tell you, PG&E, Coke, every other, they got plenty of help. These folks, these millions of Californians, they don't have that kind of help. And so, to me, this is so important. If we're going to talk about how we move the needle on homelessness, or income inequality, or really our society, if we don't do something about this piece of the puzzle, we might as well just pack it up. Because this is so important. I apologize because I have another engagement that I had previously committed to, so I got to run. I just want to thank Code for America for all the great work. We're going to get that system at the state level done one way or another. And really appreciate all of you for being here on a Thursday night talking about criminal justice. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for being here and all the work you guys.
Thank you. Before we start the question, what if we close this out? How can we get involved? What are the ways and how can we support Sacha?
Well, first thing is, I think everybody stand up for a second. You cool? Let's stand up. Let's pull out our phone. That's real. Okay, now let's go to text message. Now, I need everybody.
You know your audience really well.
I need everybody to check time done. One word, time done. 2, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. I repeat. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now push in. Because it's just like he said, you know, we don't have all these paid lobbyists and everything else to advocate for it. And sometimes we need y'all political help. You know, whether it's talking to an assembly person or a senator or, you know, send emails and tweets towards the governor or whoever it is. You know, we need every last one of y'all to get us free. You know, this system is like, it's like playing with some janky dots. You know, and you wonder why you keep on crapping out. You know, what time Gunn's trying to do is make us come anew. You know, so you shoot us a new point and try another access of that line. You know what I mean? So with that said, y'all can sit back down. Thank you. Everybody know me, know this is a one in a million type thing.
Now it's time for questions. We'll take questions from the audience.
So how do we get the Alameda County District Attorney to be so like this? I understand the Alameda County process is very hard. They're not doing it practically.
Thankfully, there is Code for America, and so they're making this technology available to every prosecutor in the state and counties. So if your prosecutor has not availed himself of that opportunity, call them up. DAs are elected, so your constituent, your voice matters.
But they just have to become like nothing there. So.
Well, I mean, my boss did come to the job enlightened, and
Yeah.
that's why I work for him. So I don't know, but I do think the constituents matter, and I think that the more people who are calling prosecutors, even those who may be old school, who have been in that role for a long time, I think if they're hearing from more of their voters, we want you to change, then they will either change or they will not be elected.
Don't be afraid to vote for a reform candidate in 2022.
They tried that last time.
For the verify conviction, there's now a state law, so every DA has to do what and they have the tools to do it. Code for America, so that we release in the end of August.
So the marijuana is proactive.
Is it legal to discriminate based on an arrest record if there hasn't been a conviction? Seems like that would be constitutionally, or unconstitutional.
So I can talk about that a little bit. So what often happens with many of the people that I represent is they will apply for a job. The job they're applying for often will be a private company. That private company will have some access to the person's background, and they will see if that person has any convictions or sometimes even arrests. And the short answer is that yes, it's legal for companies to use their discretion to decide who they want to hire. And if the person has an arrest record, that may be something that they rely on when making the final determination if they're choosing between a couple of applicants. And that's one reason why the more recent changes in the law in 2018 have made it a lot easier to get your arrest sealed. The other thing about the arrest sealings is that it oftentimes makes travel more difficult. One of the very first arrest sealings that I worked on was for a woman who was arrested back in the early 2000s, was never convicted, and she traveled for work and often traveled internationally. And every time she came back through customs, she was detained because of that arrest. And we literally being detained every time she came back into the country. So it's a long way of saying, yes, people, private companies and public companies also, like if you work for the government, they'll be able to see that. So they can use that when they're assessing whether or not you are a viable candidate for a job.
Terrance, it's good to put a face to the emails. I've been on your list for time down for a little while. Thanks for your work on this. I guess I haven't tuned in a little while, and so I was disappointed to hear that the law won't be retroactive, so it won't affect all these people who have currently the burden of their criminal history. I'm wondering how many people this would have affected, and if there are plans to keep pushing, and you guys have a strategy that you could share around when we might be able to pursue that retroactive extension.
Well, right now we're developing our 2020. It's a conference and all of that. And like you said, continue with the email and the test time done. You'll see how different methods are playing in. I just think I just wanted to highlight this is that like the team said, there's over 8 million people living with criminal conditions. And if you would put them all in the same place, in the same state, that they would be that 8 million people, it would be the 13th largest state in America. You know what I mean? There's over 48,000 barriers that people face. You know what I mean? So if you put them all in one state with the 48,000 barriers that they have, what state would they be in? It's a question that I continue to ask myself. A whole lot of things, but it's never to underestimate things, because most of the time we look at people with past convictions in a deficit lens, but there's statistics that show that no matter what people say, that most people who've been convicted and they spend some time in jail, they be at a temporary reason level. And it's not that they keep on saying 4th grade and all this stuff, but 80% of people who live who are in jail. And I got the statistic from the Bob Barker Company. And if you know what the Bob Barker Company is, they're the ones that make everything that's in prison. You know what I mean? They got a whole video on YouTube. It's called the story of recidivism. And it'll highlight, a lot of facts that people don't realize about people with convictions. So we're not all bad people and all this other stuff, and a lot of times all struggle, but there's a lot of people who are matriculating in life with past convictions, and they don't want to die a criminal. So it's it's relieving that too, stigma and everything else, But please check the emails and interact with some of the groups. We got groups in the Bay Area, got groups in Contra, you know what I mean? And we got people, and we're trying to build the movement, and we can't do it alone. You know what I mean? Like my motto goes is unity starts with human eye, and see what I think. You know what I mean? You and I see what, you know what I mean? So that's what it takes. That's all.
So more to come, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question. Yeah.
Hi. One of the reasons I part this year is maybe to ask this question to you. So I'm from Kosovo, and I'm from Africa, and I'm here to study. But in my gap year, in Kosovo, I spend my time with organizations to help war veterans get their rights back, because maybe war veterans, they respect them, but really, if they want to get a job or something, it was kind of an obstacle. And so my father is also a war veteran, and he is a doctor in criminal justice and criminology, and he was called for a conference here in San Francisco. His visa got denied because he was a war veteran. Is there any way that I know this is like an estimation, is there any way to not let this happen?
I can talk to you after. I'm happy to, I don't think it fits squarely into the conviction. The conviction is not here, it's just the status. Yeah, but it's status in another country, so I'm happy to talk. I am from South Korea, so I might not have fully understood American.
We don't understand it either. This wasn't being library night.
Is there like specific background, like we're speaking for, or like how do you categorize who to know, or which customer to?
We can talk to 80 to 76. So we have to start somewhere. So I think there's more to be done in this space. But with the legislation that we've been talking about, 80 to 76, it would cover, it basically covers anyone who is sentenced to serve their conviction locally. So that would be probation with 2 weeks supervision, or would serve their time in jail, but not folks who serve their time in state prison. And then it also excludes people who are offender registrants. But I think that is pretty much everyone is excluded. And so while, like I said, I think there's more work to be done in that space, particularly around state prison sentences and the same labyrinthine process of getting a certificate of rehabilitation. We're starting somewhere, and it's further than anywhere else has gone. So Utah and Pennsylvania have both also passed automatic record clearance legislation, but in Pennsylvania it was the first, and they were amazing. Things that was taken away, but you have to be 10 years crime-free, and it's only for like certain misdemeanors. And Utah is also limited to misdemeanors only, so California would be the first state to include felony convictions as well in our convictions.
Thank you all for joining us today. And thank you for joining us on the panel and being here right here tonight. So thank you very much.